Ladies and gentlemen, we're back with VirtuPort, and with me I have Mr. Vince, who's here in Saudi for the first time, which is such a pleasure and such an honor to have you here. And thank you for coming to the conference. Today's conference in general is about hyper-resilient cybersecurity. And the idea, the concept, we've spoken about it in so many different dimensions, but if we just trickle it down to what it really is, it's just being a step ahead than what we thought was required in the previous years. So the previous years we were solving problems, reacting, and then after that we were defending and securing, and now it's a step ahead. It's even if I get hit, I want to make sure I have enough immunity. And through my talks, this is a slight definition that I got from what hyper-resilience might be. What is your perspective on this?
Yeah, no, I think I'd put it in the same way. I think my brand, Forcepoint, I think our perspective is try to be left of breach. That's a term we kind of use to mean put all the requisite data principles in place so a breach doesn't happen in the first place. But the reality is things will happen. And when it happens, how fast can you actually contain it and remediate it so that it doesn't become a bigger and bigger problem.
One of the other challenges I think that we were speaking about is how only particular organizations or organizations of a particular size are aware about the importance of cybersecurity today. And we still have resistance or lack of awareness with other categories. And the time has come where we look at them eye to eye and tell them that this directly leads to financial loss, which is their end goal or their end concern in the end of the day. How are we, during our daily practices and our work, spreading that awareness and bridging that gap?
Yeah, I think for me, and quite frankly, this comes back as a consumer, as an employer of a security brand, but quite frankly, even as a dad or a husband. We are an interconnected world today, and there is an absolute blend between technology and people and data. And I think this has to be a conversation. It used to be security was always an afterthought. And it was always an afterthought because the cost associated. And I think I would submit to you that it has to be just woven into everything we do, whether it's as a consumer, as a dad at home, because I, as a computer nerd and a security guy, I track my network and I look for vulnerabilities. I think I have something like 72 network connected devices in my house.
Wow.
My TVs, my thermostats, all those kind of things. And oh, by the way, my computers that I use to go to my banks and do all my financial work, it's all connected. So it's very important that even at home, whether you're at home, you're a small business, a large corporation, that security is in the forethought of everything we do. And you hit on it, it ultimately comes back down to financial loss. But if I'm a small company or a big company, small companies want to become bigger companies. And there's a financial loss, but there's also things like a hit to the reputation of your brand and things like that. So some things also are even bigger than, or as big as the financial impact as well.
True. And you gave an example as you being a father and how many devices you have at home. But let's apply that very example on different parts of society. I mean, so you are the decision maker or the head of the house, but at the same time, what about, we're talking about decision makers in organizations or even the government. So what role do you think rules and regulations and decision makers have in either spreading the awareness or making it compulsory to follow the cybersecurity requirements?
Yeah, I think they have both of those responsibilities. As the head of an organization, whether that might be an organization of 2, it could be 20, it could be 2,000, 2 million. That leader has to kind of espouse and lead the way. And then, again, just making sure all that awareness is there, because both the financial, the reputational impacts of being breached and that getting out into the public, and people know that their data was impacted, sometimes that's irreparable. So we all have a say in that and a responsibility.
What other glitches would you add to that? I mean, people have spoken about how the human hand or the human capital is still resistant, or there's still some gaps in them using cybersecurity. That's one of the reasons why companies have not reached that level of development when it comes to using and practicing cybersecurity methods. But what extra or other challenges would you find as one of the obstacles in today's day?
Yeah, well, I think you've really hit on it. It really comes down to convenience. People don't want to be inconvenienced. So if I'm a security team, I'm a company, whatever, you have to weigh that kind of convenience with keeping not only your company safe, but your employees and the customers who are buying goods and services. So you have to find that happy medium. But I think my suggestion would be companies have to think with human centricity at the forefront. And our job as security people is to protect the brand and the data and the people associated with that data. But you got to remember that you got to find that happy medium where your consumers are getting the level of service that they require, because they get to vote with their clicks or their money or whatever. And if they're not getting that experience that they can from you, they will go somewhere else. So it's that balance, I think.
I think that's very well said.
Yeah.
And one of the other topics is artificial intelligence. But we've discussed it, and even through the one-on-one interviews that I had, on so many different opinions and perspectives on what AI really is today and what the role of AI is today. I mean, some people say that it is the reason why the attackers are a step ahead of us, because they're more involved and developed in AI than we, the defenders, are. And some have said that it's the main reason why productivity is increasing in the economy. And some have said that it's one of the main reasons why we have extra doors opening towards more risk, the leakage of risk. What would you say would be the right way of using AI, a conditional usage way where risk is, I don't want to say eliminated, but it's at bay?
Yeah. Boy, that's an easy question, a very deep question. What I would tell you, and I'd love to give this kind of word analogy, if you will. Think about you're running a company and you have 200 employees, and all of those employees have the IQ of Elon Musk. So think about that intellectual horsepower.
Yes.
And think about the sheer fact that you have 200 million extremely brilliant people at the ready to deliver and execute on anything you might want, any piece of content, any piece of information. That's what AI is today, at your fingertips. So when you think about that, the benefits are things like competitive advantage, scaling of a human being, because if I have 200 million digital Elon Musk working for me, the amount of sheer activity that I can get done is an order of magnitude. The ability to figure out what your public is looking like. I'm looking at you look fantastic today, but styles change, preferences change, and the amount of information that 200 million Elon Musks in a digital form can kind of discover and make decision on, boy, you can, companies can change in a matter of, immediately. That's the benefits. The problem with that, in my analogy, you have 200 million digital Elon Musk. You don't know who all those folks are. And I would assume in that population, you're going to have a set of bad actors. Mm-hmm. But
it sounded too good to be true.
Yeah, too good to be true. So you got bad actors, but you also have a lot of people that are just good, but humans make mistakes. And what people have to understand about AI, there are human beings that are actually inputting the information that's going into those large language models. And if they make mistakes, that goes into AI. And once it goes in, it doesn't come out. And at least in my company, but in the States, we kind of have an analogy, and it's you can't take the flour out of the cake. And if the cake in this metaphor is AI, and bad data goes in and you want to pull that bad data out, there's no way to do it. So what we have to do is make sure that bad data doesn't ever go in. And those are the risks associated. And just to go back, the only way to actually combat AI is with AI. So it's gotten past the point of human beings trying to do that. It's literally AI combating AI. That's where we're at today.
I like how that was said. I'd like to close with one last question. What would you want the attendees to go back with from your presentation? If they were able to go back with just one thing, what would that message be?
Yeah, I would say don't fear the power of AI, because the benefits are huge. Just as you're starting to enable that in your environments to get that competitive advantage, do the upfront planning and the understanding to know what the risks are and put policy and procedure in place to make sure that the flour never goes in, because once it does, you won't get it out.
It's irreversible. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And thank you for being with us here on VirtuPort. It's your first time, but I hope it's not your last.
Thank you very much.
Good luck on your career. Thank you very much.